Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something really cool. We are merging the fascinating psychology behind childhood development with practical, data-backed YouTube strategies. Seriously, if you've ever wondered how to create genuinely funny, safe, and just absolutely engaging content for children, you are in the perfect place. We're going to decode the developmental trajectory of humor, and then we'll turn it into a repeatable system that you can use for digital creation.
So, let's just jump right in by asking the ultimate question for any parent, educator, or aspiring creator. What actually tickles a kid's funny bone? Is it just, random silliness? Or is there a hidden structure to all that laughter? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look at a field of study you've probably never even heard of. It's called gelotology. This is literally the scientific study of humor from a psychological and physiological perspective. And academic research in gelotology reveals something wild. Humor isn't random at all. It actually evolves through highly predictable cognitive stages that align perfectly with how a kid's brain develops, going all the way from basic sensory motor functions to complex, abstract thinking.
Here is our game plan for today. 1. The science of laughter. 2. Toddlers, focusing on visuals and absurdity. 3. School kids, where we get into riddles and irony. 4. Crafting funny, engaging scripts. And finally 5. Safe filming and publishing. This is your roadmap, bridging the scientific why with a creative how.
All right, part 1, the science of laughter. Let's start with the absolute basics of how a child's brain actually processes a joke and what conditions have to be met before a giggle can even happen.
When you dig into the academic research, you find something amazing. Infant and toddler humor begins fundamentally with socialization and joint attention. A baby doesn't just laugh at some clownish antic in a vacuum. Laughter is built on a solid foundation of trust and shared experiences. Think about the classic peekaboo game, right? It works purely because of the intense bond and the safe environment provided by a caregiver. It's a super delicate balance. If that underlying trust isn't there, that exact same surprise, it can trigger fear instead of a smile.
Moving on to part 2, toddlers, visuals, and absurdity. Let's talk about our youngest audience. What exactly makes the 3 to 5-year-old crowd giggle, and how can you harness that energy?
There is a massive contrast here, depending on age. For a toddler, humor is highly visual and physical. They operate heavily on what's called the theory of the absurd. Basically, they find things hilarious when they violate their existing understanding of the world. Think about drawing a car with square wheels, or pointing to your nose and calling it an ear. It's intentional mislabeling, and they love it. Older kids, though, they've completely advanced past this. An 11-year-old is looking for exaggerated irony, complex riddles, and situational twists that actually challenge their growing abstract thought.
To see this toddler-friendly theory of the absurd in action, just picture this classic drama skit punchline. So in the Rubber Boots skit, a teacher is struggling to help a little kid try on multiple pairs of boots. But the kid just keeps insisting, "These are not my boots." They try pair after pair. Finally, they get the very last pair on, and the kid still says, "They're not my boots." The teacher, totally exasperated at this point, asks why, and the kid replies, "They're my sister's. My mom couldn't find mine this morning." It perfectly uses incongruity and harmless misdirection. That is exactly the kind of cognitive surprise that makes young kids absolutely burst into laughter.
Now, this Velio matrix is a real game changer because it perfectly aligns video formats with everything we just learned about cognitive development. If you're targeting 3 to 5-year-olds who love that visual absurdity, you absolutely need animated shorts under 1 minute because their attention spans are just so brief. But as they hit 6 to 9 years old, their brains can process steps and sequences, which makes 3 to 5 minute DIY tutorials totally perfect. By the time they're teenagers, they want much longer, story-driven series or vlogs. Matching your format to their developmental stage is absolutely the key to keeping them engaged.
Okay, part 3, school kids, riddles, and irony. So, they hit school age, and their humor matures significantly. Let's look at how they transition into understanding complex narratives and situational comedy.
There's this fantastic punchline from the Blue River skit, and it's a textbook example of the situational irony that older kids just eat up. So in the skit, an old camper feeds passing hikers, and he assures them the plates are clean because they're, quote, as clean as Blue River can get them. The hikers obviously assume he means there's a sparkling fresh river nearby. But at the end of the meal, the old man calls out, "Blue River, here boy!" And his dog runs right up to lick the plates clean. Gross, right?
But by ages 10 to 11, kids' brains have developed enough to understand hyperbole and exaggerated irony, making this kind of narrative setup incredibly rewarding for them.
Which brings us to part 4, crafting funny, engaging scripts. The crucial point here is actually applying this science to your script writing process. How do we put pen to paper and make this work?
Listen, writing for kids is definitely not about lecturing them. Instead, use this proven 3-step formula to craft upbeat scripts that sound just like a conversation with a curious friend. First, start with a hook. Ask a really simple question like, what happens when you mix baking soda with vinegar? Then, lay out the steps. Keep your sentences short, repeat keywords, and toss in a fun fact. Finally, end with a natural call to action, like asking them to try the experiment at home. Pro tip here, if you read your script out loud and it sounds stiff, scratch that and rewrite it. Kids tune out lectures instantly, but they lock right onto friendly, dynamic tones.
And finally, part 5, safe filming and publishing. Let's talk about getting this stuff out there, building into safe production, and publishing successfully on platforms like YouTube. This is your straightforward checklist to ensure your production stays fast, your edits remain engaging, and you comply fully with safety rules. Keep the camera right at eye level and use really bright natural light. In editing, aggressively trim out any dead air to match those shorter attention spans we talked about. Add captions for the key steps, which is actually a huge help for kids who are just learning to read, and drop in some fun sound effects for successful steps. But most importantly, always set your channel as made for kids. That's not just a friendly suggestion. It keeps you compliant with platform safety policies and ensures no comments or live chats are enabled. It's all about protecting your young audience.
You literally cannot forget this golden rule of packaging, because honestly, all of your brilliantly crafted, age-appropriate humor won't matter at all if they never click play. A great thumbnail is the first smile a kid sees before they click. Your title needs to follow a hook plus keyword formula, and your thumbnail acts as the visual punchline that promises them a really good time.
As we look toward the future of digital media, where algorithms and AI are increasingly a part of the creative process, I want to leave you with this final thought. How will you keep human creativity alive in your next video? We've seen today that true laughter is rooted deeply in trust, shared human experience, and a real understanding of how a child's mind actually grows. Use the data for sure. Use the tools. But let genuine, human empathy drive your humor. I really hope this explainer sparks your own journey into creating amazing, hilarious, and meaningful content for the next generation. Thanks so much for joining me.